Hello, my name's Dennis Ubaldi, Sales Director of ROC. Today we're here to present our product range. Let's start with our flagship, the RT1000. It's the most popular model, intended for all contractors who produce silage and hay with square balers. In other words, professionals processing large areas, normally on the North American, Russian, and European markets. But first, let's discuss the benefits of mergers, by which I mean the concept, not just our machine, compared to conventional rakes. The first plus factor is that mergers don't drag the crop over the ground. Instead, they load it into a belt and then transport it. The major benefit of this is that we don't lose any crop if we encounter holes or ruts. So, no crop loss. The other big advantage is that we don't pick up soil or stones. And this is very important because not picking up soil or stones means a much cleaner crop. And above all, no wear on the components of the downstream machinery, such as the forage harvester knives, the blower, and the spouts, or in the case of the baler, simply the guides of the baler piston. So, there's much less wear on the machinery that performs the follow-on processes. Another big plus factor is that instead of having, as with normal swathers, just one swath every 9, 10, or 12 meters, we can pick up the swath again and move it to give us one swath every 18, 27, or 36 meters. And this is a great help because people often say, I baled at 16 to 18 kilometers per hour, which is meaningless. Or, I harvested my forage at 15 kilometers an hour, which means nothing. Because in the case of a baler, we have a tractor of 200 or 300 horsepower and a baler that on its own weighs 11 tons. Plus another tractor that weighs another 11 or 10 tons. We're moving 22 or 24 tons at that speed. And how many bales are we baling per hour? What matters when baling is to keep the number of bales per hour high. To do this, we need big swaths. So with a merger, what we're actually doing is reducing the number of swaths in the field, but not the amount of crop per swath compared to the first cuttings. So regardless of whether this is the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth cutting, we always have the maximum amount. So we can keep the baler at 4 or 5 kilometers per hour. This is the secret of always operating it at peak efficiency. There's no point in buying a second or third baler. You just need to get the most out of the one you have. The same applies to forage harvesters. Nowadays, forage harvesters are not like 20 years ago, with just 400 or 500 horsepower. That type's still around, but for contractors, we're already talking about 700 or 800 or even 1,000 horsepower. Obviously, with a 1,000 horsepower machine, the more crop we have, the better. If you look at corn, we've moved from 6 to 8 rows to 8 to 12 rows. And unfortunately, the pickup is still 3 meters wide for the forage harvester itself. So it's up to us to make sure the forage harvester swath is big enough to keep productivity in tons per hour high. And to do this, sometimes we may even have one swath every 40 meters. But the secret is that the hourly cost of a tractor with a merger is fairly low compared to a forage harvester with an engine of 800 or 900 or 1,000 horsepower. So it's better to do a good job with a professional machine first, to get the most from the more expensive machines that follow. Not to mention crop quality, which we discussed earlier. There are still many more details, which we'll be happy to explain and discuss with you at any time. Thank you for your attention. We hope that this presentation has been useful and helped you to appreciate our product better. Thank you, and see you soon.